Hello everyone, welcome to Southern Wreaths. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel and be sure to give me a thumbs up. Today I'm going to show you how to make this super affordable Halloween wreath. These are the supplies I'm going to use to make this wreath. I'm just going to do the poof method, and I'm going to go ahead and add black pipe cleaners to my 14-inch wire frame. I add a pipe cleaner to each crossbar on the center rings, and I'll do that going all the way around. You end up with 6 on the inside. For the outside pipe cleaners, I'm kind of offsetting a little bit from the crossbar like I normally do. This is just because I want the poofs to line up a little bit different because I'm only doing a poof method with no ribbon. And what I'll do is twist it 3 times and then lay the pipe cleaner along the frame, and where it ends is where I'm going to add my next pipe cleaner. And I'll do this all the way around the outside, and I get 8 ties. I'm only using 21-inch mesh. The only thing I did not purchase at Dollar Tree for this wreath is the mesh and the pipe cleaners. But they do sell pipe cleaners there. I just happen to have these already. But everything else comes from Dollar Tree. So this wreath is super affordable. It was under $10 to make. And I think it's really cute. It's hard to tell in the picture, but I put spiderweb across it, and it gives it a lot of detail. So I'm just going to attach the 21-inch mesh with a zip tie and then push it through to the back to trim it away. And now I'm just going to gather it in my hands, and I'm going to make 10-inch poofs, and I'm just using my mat to help me measure it out. You just kind of make a C shape with your hand. After you've gripped it really well, you make a C shape and just pull it through. You want to keep it tight, but not so tight that it hurts your hand. But you don't want it so loose that you keep going because you'll just slide right on past it. And then I like to fluff them as I go along. And I'll go around the whole outside and do all of my poofs, and then I'll show you how I move to the inside. Okay, so once I finish that part, I pull the pipe cleaner, I pull the mesh up into the center to the closest pipe cleaner, twist it 1.5 times, and then I'll continue making my poofs. And when I come back around, I'm going to open that zip tie, open that pipe cleaner and add in my last poof. And this just makes a seamless circle where there's no gap or anything. See, I just open it up and then stick in the last poof. And you want it to be really tight, the pipe cleaners, you want to tie them really tight. At this point, I wasn't sure if I was going to add anything else, but as you go, you could go ahead and roll down your pipe cleaners if you wanted to, because I'm not adding anything else. I'm going to push the mesh to the back and then attach it with a zip tie, the same way I did at the beginning. And you don't have to use a zip tie, especially if it's for you, your personal wreath. You can just use pipe cleaners. They hold really well. It's just when you sell things, you don't want to take any chances of anything coming apart. And you do pull it snug. And then I'll just trim that away. And this is just a basic poof wreath, so you could use this as any wreath base. You can see through it at this point, but once you add the spiderweb, you can't really see it. Okay, so I didn't want to hot glue anything to these signs because I knew it would pop off, and I don't have any E6000 right now, so I'm just using the tip of my hot glue gun to melt the plastic, and then using a little metal pokey thing I have to poke through and create a hole. You don't have to do that. And actually, if you have one of those things that pokes holes in metal, it might poke a hole in plastic. I'm not 100% sure, but this was the easiest way and the best way I thought to attach the sign to the wreath. And I'll do one on each side. I do the same thing with the skull. I don't think I show you that, but what I'll do is poke a hole, 2 holes, and then I feed the pipe cleaner through. If anyone's interested in following me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Southern Wreaths More, on Facebook at Southern Wreaths, and I also have a Facebook group called Southern Wreaths and More. I also have all of these links in the description below. As you can see, you have to be really patient with this to get it to work, but it worked really well, and it made a really nice circle. and it was the perfect size to fit my pipe cleaner through. Because usually with wood signs, the hot glue works really well, or of course you can use a staple gun. But with this being plastic, it just wasn't working like that. Okay, so I only bought the spider web pack because of the spiders. I couldn't find any black spiders. But then I had the idea of using the actual spider web, and I'm glad I did. I thought it came out really cute. This skull was defective on top, but I add a spider there later and you can't really see it. So my son had this great idea of having the spider come out of his eye. So I'm just going to trim away the ring part of this spider ring to make it kind of flat. I don't think I get it perfect, but it's flat enough to stick to the skull. And I just use hot glue to stick it on there. It's Gorilla Glue. It holds really well. And this won't be tugged on or anything. And I'm only putting glue on the actual body of the spider. If after you add the spider you need certain parts of it to go different ways, you can probably add a little tiny bit of hot glue on the leg and like make it lay down where you want it to be. So you can see over here to the right I added 2 spiders, and the other spiders I'm going to add after I put everything on the wreath. Now I'm just going to run through and twist the pipe cleaners. I'm using my glue stick, and I just like to roll it down. It just gives it a nice finished look, and it adds some texture to your wreath. You could also trim them away or just push them to the back. So I didn't need the whole piece of spider web, so I'm just cutting what I think I need. And I'm going to try to lay it out as flat as I possibly can. This stuff's hard to work with. And then I'm just laying it across the mesh. I'm going to kind of tie it in the corners to start, and then I'll just keep tugging on it until I'm happy with the way it looks. Because I definitely wanted it to look like a spider web. I didn't want it to look like big fluffy pieces of cotton. And I'm just wrapping it around the frame, and I'm going to use a zip tie to attach it. You could always trim it away and have it look really nice and neat on the back. The only time I take care for to fix the back of the wreath to look nice is if someone specifically asks for it. If they have like a glass door. Otherwise, I don't really worry about it because no one's going to see it. Okay, so once I was happy with that, I'm going to start adding the rest of the stuff. I wanted my sign up here, but I knew I wanted a spider above him, a really big spider. So I'm kind of going to move the sign down a little bit as I'm putting it together. But I'm just feeding it through the mesh and the spider web to the back and wrapping it around the frame. And I'll do the same thing on both sides. The big furry spider I got, if you went to Dollar Tree, I'm sure you've seen them. They only had brown, and I wanted black for this wreath, so I spray painted it black. It kind of left a little bit of brown on the legs, which I kind of liked. It made it look a little more realistic. It kind of made stripes at the creases of the spider's legs. You can't really tell that in the video, but it's a nice little touch. Now I'm just pulling the spider web up and around the sign to make it look a little more natural. And you could play around with this as much as you want. I wanted the skull off to the side, so I'm just doing the same thing, feeding it through to the back. You don't have to be too picky about where it sits right now. You can always adjust it later. And again, I'm pulling the spider web around and tucking it with the spiders. I thought that was really cute. It reminds me of like the movie scenes where you see the grave where it has the bones and then there's like spider web across it. Here's the brown spider. I did the same thing as I did with the other stuff where I just poked holes in the back and fed the pipe cleaner through, and you can see his belly was brown. And I kind of wanted him to overlap the beware sign. He's so big. It's perfect. And I'm, again, feeding it through to the back, attaching it to the frame. And then I'll position him where I want and add any of the webbing that I want to add. So you could leave the wreath like this if you want. I hate the huge gap in between the poofs. So I'm going to take each poof and pull them together at a certain point that's close to the outside, not real close to the frame. And I'm going to attach black zip ties, just feed through one side and out through the other, pull it tight and trim it away. And I'm going to go around and do this for every single poof section. Again, this is not necessary. It just made it look better in my eyes. But that's it. That's how I made my spooky, affordable Halloween wreath. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. Thank y'all so much for watching, and if you learned anything today, or if you like my video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.